Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Sam and welcome to the Ellie Rose Party Designs community. In today's video I'm going to be showing you how you can make your own monthly calendar in Photoshop and what method I like to use and what you can use to do the same. So let's get started. Alrighty, so to get started you can download the Photoshop file that I will provide you. The link is in the description box down below. Once you have downloaded, I want you to double click onto it and you'll open up your Photoshop and it will look something similar to this here. Now the dimensions, if you're wanting to do this yourself, I will put the information of the file on the screen now and that will tell you exactly what file information we have used. Now if you are new to Photoshop and you are wanting to get started with Photoshop but you don't know where to begin, I have some tutorials for you in the description too, which you're welcome to check out. Now to get started we have a few things that we need to make sure we have. If you do not have these rulers that you will see here on by your toolbar section, make sure to go to view and tick rulers, and also make sure that your snap to guides and all of those are also being ticked too. Okay, now I have also provided you in the file some folders on the right hand side here. If you click onto calendar, it'll bring up all these boxes. Now these boxes are quite time consuming to put together, so I thought I would just provide them for you. Now I will show you how to actually make them yourself too later on in this tutorial, but I thought I would provide those for you. Alright, so to get started you need to have your guides popped on either side. Now to do that I have created here it is here. I have created just a rectangle shape and I have put the dimensions as 0.250 inches by whatever the length is going to be. So the width from there to there is 0.25. Okay, and what I mean by that, so let's just right click and I just want to bring it back up. So once you have done that, all you need to do is drag it to the end of your canvas. Okay, you want to have it snapped in the canvas and then just hit enter to place it. Alright, now this one didn't snap in for some reason. Okay, and then we're going to place a guideline down there. Now the template that I do provide you will already have these guidelines, but if you're wanting to make your own guidelines, all you need to do is to click onto your ruler and you drag and you see how it now brings up these lines, and that's how you would do that. Alrighty, now you would do the same on this side here. Place your rectangle shape to the edge of the page, click and drag your guideline there, and then to do these sides all we're going to do is hit Control T and right click on there and rotate 90 degrees and place it on the top part. If I can snap it in, for some reason it's not wanting to snap. And then hit enter and then click and drag that down to there. Alright, and then you would do the same thing at the bottom, and once you've done that we can then untick that. So now you have your borders or your guidelines around your canvas. So the next thing we're going to be doing is the little rectangle shapes. Now I'll just show you how to do one line, but like I said, I've made it a little bit easier for you guys where you can just click and there they are for you. Okay, so let's just untick that for now. Let's create a new layer and I'm going to just go over here and I am going to click onto round rectangle tool. Now I'm going to make my shape. If you just click on the canvas once, I'm going to make this 1.45 inches by 1.060. Now this is the one that I have found to be the most relevant to the size of this canvas. Okay, and we're just going to hit enter, and there is our shape. Now I like to do almost like a light color, so whatever color you want to do, let's just make it blue for now. Okay, and then our border around it is just going to be a light gray. Okay, the other thing that I want to suggest too is that you want to try and make the capacity, let's just make that a little bit see-through to about there. Now if you take a look at our, I'll just zoom in here. Okay, first of all, let's change the lines to be not dotted. All right. Now, the first thing is I am not liking that shape. Okay, we want to get it to so that it has a shape like that. Now, how do we do that? All we need to do is make sure that we are on our layer. We have got properties. Now, if you don't have properties, make sure to go to Windows and make sure that properties is being selected. Okay, so we are in it. All you're going to do is you are going to go over here, and you see how it's got those two red arrows pointing to the left and the right, sorry, black arrows pointing to the red and light. All we're going to do is we're going to click and we're going to drag until we are happy with the shape we are wanting. You see that? And there we go, it's now changed its portions completely. All right, so that's just a little something to put in your little goodie bag. Okay, so now this is where these guidelines come in. You see how that is now snapped in. Let's just go back here. All right, you see how it's right against there. All right, now this is where these guidelines come really handy. Now I don't want to sit there trying to, where are we going? I don't want to sit there trying to figure out every single one. Okay, but I do want 7 boxes going across, but I want them to be equally. So how do we do that? So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to take that particular rectangle shape, and I'm just going to make that, and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag that to the end over here, so making sure that that's touching that guideline over there. And then I also hit the shift key so that it stays in proportion with the other one. Okay, so it stays in the same line. So I want 7 of those. So I've got 2 there already. I'm just going to make another one. So that is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so now there are 7 there that I've created. Now you can use a short code, which is a short keyboard code, and that is Control J. Okay, then we're going to take all of these rectangle shapes, and I'm going to highlight them all. Okay, so by doing that, all I did was hit the shift key. Then I'm going to go over here, make sure that this button, the select tool, move tool has been selected, and then I'm going to click onto this button here, so making sure that we obviously have selected the move tool, and I'm going to click on this button here, and it's going to evenly distribute them with the correct amount of spacing. Now I wouldn't have done that if I didn't have these little guidelines there. Okay, so that's why we use the guidelines, especially in calendars, because they just help a lot. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to click onto our calendar setting, our calendar folder, sorry, and it's the one that says square boxes. So if you find that it's still not showing up even though you've hit the calendar, just make sure that your square boxes folder is also ticked. Okay, now with the theme that I'm going to be doing is just like a little baby plush, like little plush characters. I'll show you what they are in just a second, but if you are wanting to do something completely different, feel free to do that. Now if you're wanting to change the colors of these rectangle shapes, all you need to do is, while we are in there, is to double click onto the little square and it will pop up over here. Alright, the other way of doing it is making sure that you've clicked onto it and click onto the shape tool here, and they're going to show up here. So if you're wanting to change the fill color to say a pinky color, you can change it there. And then the same thing as your stroke color, change it to wherever you want to change it to. And then if you're wanting to change the transparency of your shape, all you need to do is go to opacity and change the opacity to whatever you want to do it there. Okay, so that's how you would do that. Now I'm just going to hit undo because I don't want to do that. The first thing we're going to do is that's going to be put on, and then I am going to just find my background that I'm going to be using. So I am in my clip art folder, and so I'm going to be using this pink polka dot wallpaper. So I'm just going to click and I'm going to drag that into place. Okay, and there it is there. Now I'm just going to drag that to the side, and I'm just going to hold the shift key because I want these little dots to stay the same size, and I'm just going to drag that further out to about there, and then I'm going to hit enter. Now I'm going to change the opacity to around say maybe a little bit more to about there. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Now I just want to place that file under my backgrounds, which is right there, and I'll just put that back on again because it was switched off. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I am wanting to add in my text. Now under text I'm just going to, alright, and I'm just going to click onto the text tool on the left hand side here, and I'm actually going to be adding my heading, so it's going to say January 2021. Now the font that I'm going to be using is called Willow Market, which is this one over here, and the size of it is going to be let's go with about 72, and then I can always adjust it, and then I'm going to keep it black, and we're going to type in January. Let's pop you in the center. Now if you're not too sure if that's the center, all we need to do is go like that, click here, and that is in the center. Okay, Control D to release. Alright, I am now going to put an offset around this. So let's go to FX and stroke, and the stroke is going to be white, which I am happy with. Okay. Alright, so I am happy with that. I'm just going to pop you under text because that's where my text file is going, and just make sure you've obviously got it switched on. Now the next one I'm going to be doing is let's add in a new layer, and this is where it's going to be 2021. Now I wanted to change it to another one I like to use, which is called KL Tinker, that one there. And now this one's probably going to be a little bit bigger, but we'll decide in a minute how big we want it. 2021. Okay, and then let's do the offset again on this one to the same, and then I'm just going to make you slightly a bit bigger. Let's bring you to the middle, which is about there. Let's bring you further up. Now you need to be a little bit smaller. Alright, let's drag you further down. I'm just going to make you a little bit smaller and drag you in the center again. There you go. Let's go you all the way up to the borderline, and then that one looks a little bit more better. to about there. Okay, so now it's starting to come together nicely. Let's go ahead and now add in our clip art. So to do that, so let's just minimize that. We're going to go back into our folder, and I'm just going to pick a few designs. I think I'm going to go with, say, the monkey, the octopus. Quite liking this one here, the clouds, and let's go with this little fox. Okay, and I'm going to click all of them, and I'm going to click and I'm going to drag them into my Photoshop, and there it is there. And I am just going to place them in by hitting enter. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to highlight all of them, and I'm going to hit Control T, and I'm just going to minimize them so they're all the same size, and let's just drag them in here. Okay, and then hit enter. Now let's just take each one. So I'm going to pop you, say, about there, and I'm going to pop you and you. I want you on this side. That's what's great about having these little borders too, is that it helps you out knowing exactly where you're going to put everything. Alright, I'm going to put my little monkey there, and you can go about there. But I'm just thinking that this octopus needs to be a little bit smaller. Alright, to about there. Now, as you can see, it's kind of blending too much in with the background. So I'm going to do an offset on every single one of these. So, or a stroke, sorry, I just call it an offset, but it's a stroke. And let's reduce the size to, say, 16 looks pretty good. Okay, another thing I'm probably going to do is let's do a little drop shadow on these, just to make them stand out a bit. Alright, let's do the same with you. Stroke should be the same, and then let's add in a drop shadow. Alright, and then let's do the same on you. Stroke and a drop shadow, and the same with you. Stroke and drop shadow. Okay, yep, that looks pretty good. Awesome. Now we're going to be adding in our numbers and our I did forget to do, let's just bring these further up, because we need to add in, of course, the days of the week, which I completely forgot about. Alright, so to add in the days of our week. Alright, so let's just go over here and just sort out what we got going on here. So those ones there, I am going to add into clip art folder. Let's make sure we've got it highlighted. Alright, and let's minimize you. Now, let's add in our days of the week. Okay, so days of the week, I'm probably going to add them in a folder, probably still under text. Yeah, that should be fine. Okay, doesn't really matter. Alright, so I'm going to change the text to sweet and salty, and my size is going to be around 16. Right, and the color is going to be black. Let's type in, I'm going to do with Monday first, so Sunday. Okay, and let's pop you in the center. Okay, and then I'm just going to duplicate that, make sure this is on, and I'm going to type in Monday. Now let's click and drag you, bring it into the center. All right, now I'm going to keep going with that, and I will just fast forward this part. Okay, so I just realized that it was pretty high up. I should have zoomed in while I was doing this. So I'm just bringing it further down. And another thing is I'm just going to click onto this 21, and I'm just going to make the offset for that a lot more smaller. Make that about 16, and the same goes with this one here. Just seems really big. Okay, and then I'm just going to bring you up slightly. Okay, so let me just have a look and see how this is looking. Oopsie. Okay, yep, perfect. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to be bringing in our numbers. Now, this can be a bit tedious sometimes, but the quickest way I find to work is I will show you right now. Let's just first go here, and I'm just going to put all of these under text. Okay, so the best way I find is by doing the same thing as what we did here. All right, and I'm just going to make a slight bit of a border from the edge here where we're going to be putting in the days of the week, the numbers of the days of the week, and that way it's going to be exactly the same on every single one of them. Okay, all right, so to do that, all we're going to do is make a rectangle shape. Okay, and I'm just going to go over here to the shapes, and I am going to make it say roughly 0.40 inches, and then the height, I'll just say 3 inches, doesn't really matter, 5 inches, whatever. Okay, now I'm just going to have a look and see how this is going to look. So I'm putting it right on the edge. If we just zoom in a little bit closer, let's go here. I'm just popping you right on the edge over there. That way it's going to look exactly the same on every single one of them. Okay. Alright, so now let's just bring you all the way down. Now, this is where these guidelines come in that are really, really handy. So all we need to do is click onto that and pop it in place. Okay, there it is there. Now we're going to do the same thing on this side. Click and drag. Pop you in place too. Click and drag. Snap. Click and drag you to here. Snap. 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 And snap. Now if we go further out and you have a look at this, you are going to probably be like, holy moly, this looks crazy. Now let's just take that off. But it is so much easier. So what we're going to do is we're now going to add in our days of the week. January started on the Friday, so this is where we're going to start with the first. Okay, so I'm going to go, and I think we're going to keep it with the same font. We're going to keep it with Sweet and Salty, and I might just make this a little bit smaller to 16. Okay, and then I'm going to type in 1, and then, sorry, one thing I forgot too is that we need to do the top part also. Okay, So let's just right click and vertically. And I'm just going to make you go to the top here. And I'm going to go over here and I'm just going to do the same thing. Now let's get there. And now it looks crazy. But look here, all we need to do is once you have got your number, pop it on there. Now let's go here and I'm going to hit the shift key. I am just going to move you all the way over to the right hand side, and I'm just going to change that now to say 2. Hit enter. Now I'm just going to go zoom in here so I can see what I'm doing, and I'm just going to take you and I'm going to pop you right in the corner like that, and this one here can go in the corner too. Alright, and that's how we do that. And then you can go this one, let's duplicate that, let's make that a 3, let's bring you all the way to Sunday. Now once you've done this already, you can then save this file and then just keep doing it over and over and over again. Obviously the days will change, but at least you'll have all the numbers already there, so you won't have to worry about doing this all the time. Okay, so let's go here and let's change that to now 4. Hit the shift key and let's drag you all the way to the edge. Once you have done a row, I would recommend duplicating that row and then just dragging it down. Alright, and then you just change the numbers that way. Okay, so I'm going to go from say 5 through to 3. So let's find all the 5s and all the 3s that are there. And I'm just going to hit duplicate. And then I'm just going to click onto one of them and I'm going to hit the shift key and drag it down. Make sure that that is on the line, and then this one here doesn't seem to go down, so let's just drag you down. And there he is there. Alright, and then we can do that again. So okay, now that I've added in my numbers of the days, I'm just wanting to change the size to make it a little bit more bigger. So we're just going to go and change that to say 24. Let's see what's yeah, I'm liking that. Now because I've highlighted it on the right hand side over here, everything's highlighted, I am just going to move it all at the same time to with my arrow keys to about say there. So let's just take a step back here and let's have a look at it and see how our design is looking. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Now if you take away all of these little all these guidelines, you'll find that it is maybe a lot more visually appealing to you. Let's remove all of these things and see. Now I think I want to move you slightly up and you. because those guidelines that we had was mainly for the sides over here and for the bottom, so for the top not so much. Okay, so then what I would do is, and of course throughout the whole process of designing, you want to be saving your work, just in case if something happens to your computer or your battery runs out or whatever it is. It's always good to keep saving, all right? And then you're going to be saving it as a PSD file first, all right? And then hit save. So find wherever it is that you want to save it and save it as a PSD file, okay? And then once you've done that, you can then save this as a PDF file if you want to give this to somebody, or if you're wanting to actually sell calendars, you can do it as a JPEG file or a PDF file. And to do that, and then all I'm going to do is I'm going to go to layers and we're going to flatten the image, okay? Bearing in mind, remember you need to save it as a PSD file first, okay? Once you've done that, but make sure that the PSD file has all of its layers over here, okay? Because if you save it as a PSD file and you've saved it as merged layers, you're not going to be able to get those layers back. All right, so always save it as a PSD file first. Then when you want to save it as a JPEG or a PNG or a PDF, you want to make the file a lot more smaller. So by doing that, you want to merge the layers together, and by doing that you click layers and you flatten the image. We're then going to go file and we're going to go to save as. We're now going to save our calendar. Let's change it to say January calendar, and now I'm going to save it as a PDF file, or if you want to save it as a JPEG or as a PNG, whichever. So let's save it as a PDF file, and I'm going to hit save, and another box is going to pop up, and all I'm going to do is untick and untick because I don't want people to be able to change anything. And then I'm just going to hit save PDF file. All right, then what I like to do is to go back into my history. If you haven't got this icon over here, make sure you click onto Windows and you click onto History. And where I've got flatten image, I just want to click the previous setting that I had on there. All right, and it brings back all my layers. All right, and I'm just going to go File. And by checking to see if your file is up to date in a PSD file, if you have a look here where this little asterisk is, that tells you if the file needs to be saved or not. If there's no asterisk, that means it's already up to date and it's been saved as a PSD file. Okay, but I've obviously done some changes to it because I did the PDF. So I'm just going to go back and I'm going to go save as and make sure that it says PSD file, and then I'm going to hit save. All right, but I'm not going to do that because I've already got it saved. But now that we've done that and we are happy with the design, let's head over to my desktop and see how it's going to look as a PDF file. Okay, so here it is here. Let's double click onto it and let's have a look and see what our file is going to look like as a PDF file. There you go. There is our folder. And you see how much neater it looks when everything is uniform. All right, and that is where those guidelines come in and make it so much easier to have everything the same distance apart from the top and at the bottom. Okay, it just makes it look so much more neater. I hope you found this video tutorial helpful and that you will give this a go and use my template. It's there for a reason, so that'll make it a little bit easier for you guys too. And I would love to see your guys' design. So head over to my Facebook group and share your printables with me. Show me what you guys have designed and done. And yes, remember to please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you.